Hello and welcome. Money, motivation, and Mike here. Another great day, Jason, to be alive.
For sure.
Have you ever heard of the name Howard Hughes?
Oh, yeah.
I would think most people have. Probably our 30 and younger crowd. Not so familiar with Howard Hughes. But Howard Hughes played a big part in the golf game. All right. We also know the Hughes family. Baker Hughes. Baker Hughes that goes down into the oil wells, tests for oil. All right. The Hughes part is the Howard Hughes family. Actually, his dad is the one that got the family into the oil business. The tri-bit that we still use today. Now, obviously, technology has brought it up to normal today's standards, but Howard Hughes' dad invented the tri-bit to penetrate into the ground at very deep depths. But where am I going here with Howard Hughes? Howard Hughes' dad had obviously a tremendous amount of resources financially, which allowed Howard Hughes to do a lot of things such as aviation. All right. And as the story goes, in the 1930s, Howard Hughes had a good friend named Gene Sarazen. Now, Gene Sarazen, in my opinion, was the third big-time name in golf. You got Walter Hagen, and you had made mention to him. Wasn't he on Bagger?
Legend of Bagger Vance.
Yeah, and he was. And the other guy on there, Bobby Jones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, another person that could have been a part of that was Gene Sarazen. Really the third big name, in my opinion, in the golfing ranks over the last century plus of golf. To the point where, and we were looking at our stats, I did not even realize that Gene Sarazen had won the career Grand Slam, winning all four majors. And we know Roy McIlroy just accomplished that last year at the 2025 Masters. But Gene Sarazen did 2 U.S. Opens, 3 PGAs, a British, and a Masters. I did not realize that he had won a Masters because his time was in the 20s and into the early 30s. The Masters didn't start up till the 30s. All right. But now here we go. And by the way, Scotty Scheffler will be trying to go for the career Grand Slam at the U.S. Open in June at Shinnecock Hills, Long Island, New York. So get your bootstraps on for that, Jason. I know you'll be glued to the TV.
Certainly.
Waiting for Dallas native Scotty Scheffler, who, by the way, is also defending the Byron Nelson this week. So lots of things. Byron Nelson. That's why it's raining in North Texas. Because the Byron Nelson always, it's got to be the tour stop with the most rain. It rains every time there's a Byron Nelson. They've even shortened several of the Byron Nelson golf tournaments have been shortened to 54 holes. And I've even remember when they had to take actual golf holes on the golf course and shorten them because it was so much flooding in other parts of that hole. They'd take a par 4 or par 5 and make it into a par 3 just so they could have an 18th hole. But for some reason, the PGA Tour thinks that the Byron Nelson in May and the Colonial at Fort Worth in May, 2 longtime prestigious golf tournaments, because obviously Byron Nelson, a huge name, and then the Colonial was about Ben Hogan, who frankly another major name in the golfing industry. But nevertheless, here we go. Howard Hughes did not invent or brand his own specific line of golf wedges. However, he is directly responsible for the invention of the modern sand wedge. Now you think about that. How can a guy in aviation be responsible for the modern sand wedge? All right, Jess. So now I know you are just starting to get your feet wet with golf.
Right.
But the wedge seems to dig more into the ground than do the other clubs. Okay, so you got the blade and it digs. All right, it did dig. You go get a blade right now without what we're fixing to get into here, it's going to dig instead of bounce. So during a flight in the early 1930s, billionaire, like we talk about aviator Howard Hughes, pointed out in his relationship with Gene Sarazen as they are flying. He wanted to show him how drag worked in flight. So Hughes used his private plane's flaps as they're flying to explain how to control airflow and resistance. Inspired by his aviation lesson, Gene Sarazen returned to his workshop and modified his existing club, which now is a modern day 9-iron. They didn't have wedges back then. Matter of fact, my first set was a 3, 5, 7, and 9. That was the only irons I had. By soldering metal onto the sole underneath the blade, this addition created bounce. Now, every wedge you see has a cavity on the back of it. All right. And that cavity sets just a little bit lower than does the bottom of the blade of the club. So when you go through the ground, you go through the sand, the blade does not get caught. The cavity allows the club to bounce off the ground so that it doesn't dig and stop. It bounces. So this club guided effortlessly through the sand. And as a matter of fact, Gene Sarazen broke it out at the 1932 British Open and dominated bunker shots. He also won the tournament that week, which was, by the way, was his only British Open that he ever won. So the modification revolutionized the game, leading to mass production of sand wedges. Now, before he did this, he obviously had to go before the USGA, and there was no PGA at that time, United States Golf Association, and the PGA, the Professional Golfers of America, not the tour. That did exist, but he had to get the governing bodies to okay what he was fixing to do, because he's fixing to put it into a play in a golf tournament. Frankly, they allowed him to do this just because he was Gene Sarazen, not because it was going to be a great invention. So by showing drag on a airplane by the legendary Howard Hughes, Gene Sarazen invents the sand wedge that we use today. How about that, Jason?
Fantastic. I like it.
I was just blown away with this story when I was being told. I've never heard this in all my years of studying the game of golf and the history there within. I never realized that Gene Sarazen was responsible for the sand wedge. And the reason he was responsible for the sand wedge is because he was on an airplane flight with his good friend, Howard Hughes. So you just never know how something's going to happen. What if Gene Sarazen decided that day he couldn't go on the plane with Howard Hughes? Where would we be today? All over bounce. You take a golf club, you take a wedge that has bounce on the bottom, the additional, what I call just a little flap down there, and you swing and you put it into the ground. Try to put it into the ground. Right there at the center of your stance. It will not dig.
Yeah.
You have to turn the blade You have to turn the blade where you're really sharp to get that thing to dig. Move the ball to the back of your stance. Turn the blade so you have to hit down on it. It's going to grab. But if you use the club properly, it will not. You can press as hard as you can into that ground. And it's going to bounce off there, which allows you to finish the swing, which allows you to move the golf ball. And from that, that's how the sand wedge, which in essence turns into all of your other wedges, because all of your wedges now have cavity backs. And I don't know this, but I would say that the cavity backs on your normal irons probably had a little bit to do with this as well. Because, you know, you can buy golf clubs that just have a blade, and those blades are hard to hit. But you got the cavity on the bottom that obviously keeps your blade to dig it in, allows you to hit better shots. So he took a 9-iron, Jason, which the degrees on a 9-iron is going to be mid-40s.
Okay.
All right. Your sand wedges, because obviously the flatter the blade you can get the blade, the higher the ball will go, and the shorter it will go.
More lift.
That's right. Higher. That's right. So 9-iron is in the mid-40s on its degree. And now your sand wedge is a 56 to a 60. Normal sand wedge is 56 degrees. So you can imagine how much it's laid down, which allows you to take a full swing and not hit the ball very far. And whenever you're trying to get out of a bunker, you need a little power behind it. Obviously, when the ball's a little deeper, because, you know, it could go in there and plug. You need the cavity back becomes even a bigger deal. So the next time you're swinging your wedge, Jason, you can think of Gene Sarazen.
Every time.
Every time. But like I say, hey, do you remember who I said was going to win the PGA Championship?
You said
Cameron Young.
That's right. Okay.
Cameron faded.
Oh, no.
Yep. Have you ever heard of the name Aaron Rye?
Can't say I have.
Well, he is your new PGA Championship 2026 champion. 290 to 1 odds to win. Mr. Nice Guy on the tour. But it also has brought people back to the 1991 story of John Daly.
Okay.
Which is another story that we need to talk about on this show. Obviously, I'm trying to stay on the Howard Hughes and the sand wedge and the Gene Sarazen, but as everybody knows, my tree has a lot of branches.
Yes, I know this.
So, you know, you and I can sit down for 4 or 5 hours and talk and never finish a story.
Right.
So we try to stay on point on here, but yes, John Daly, the 9th alternate. So 156 golfers. He was 165, 9th alternate. That means 8 people have to drop out. Excuse me, a person has to drop out, and then 8 more alternates have to drop out before he got into the event. And he gets on Wednesday night. John Daly is halfway across the country for a Thursday morning tee time if he became the alternate. Lots of times you don't know that the alternate's going to get to play until Thursday morning. Guy gets up sick. Family emergency. As a matter of fact, of these 8 other alternates that had to defect out of the PGA or decline the invitation, I believe 3 of them's wives were pregnant, expecting delivery.
Got to plan that more carefully.
Oh, it's incredible, this John Daly story. And then he gets into he's just a nobody. So if these 8 other guys, actually 9, because like I say, one of the 156 has to step out as well before we get into the alternates. These 9 other guys don't drop out. Do we ever find out who John Daly is? And he just ripped it and gripped it and ripped it and bombed it. And the rest is history. And he also won the British Open right on down the line. But anyway, that story leads us in to why we're talking about it is the Aaron Rye kid, who is now a PGA champion. Do you realize how many, I don't know if you can be called a great, but great golfers who never win a major. Never win a major. And this dude has already won one. And like I say, and John Daly got him one. And I touched on the PGA Championship about going in 1988 on our previous show, how sleeping on the floor at a Motel 6.
Yep.
And that tournament being won by Jeff Sluman, who only won 2 golf tournaments in his life. So, hey, lightning strikes in the bottle, you better be ready to cap it up once again. So, you know, we've, how many episodes have we've had a handful of episodes, have we not, over the last couple of months talking about golf?
For sure.
But you know what? When we do golf shows, golf episodes, they get listened to, they get watched.
Yeah.
And it's like that dadgum stinking Dallas Cowboys story we put out here 3 or 4 years ago. You know, I think we did a whole month on it, didn't we?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, all the decades, several of the decades.
Yeah, I think at least 4.
High ratings.
Yeah.
High ratings.
I think there's might be enough content there for John Daly almost.
Oh, there's definitely a John Daly. We got enough content on John Daly to talk for a month.
Well, everybody let us know in the comments if you want an episode on John Daly.
That's right. Hey, they might want an episode on Howard Hughes.
I mean, I like it.
Who, by the way, Howard Hughes was, I found out who Howard Hughes was. Not introduced to him, but introduced to who he was by our grandfather, Wayne Wright.
Howard Hughes.
Howard Hughes. I can tell you right where I was.
I was introduced to him by the movie Rocketeer. Fantastic show, by the way.
And most people take Howard Hughes in this era and think he's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. I think he was a germaphobe, was he not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Stories that I have read, that Avatar there at the end of his life, where he stayed in one of the top floors in his hotel, one of his hotels in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And would not let people come and go as they pleased. Basically putting his own assistants had to stand at the door and have conversations with him. Wouldn't let him in.
Yeah.
And his number one thing that he ordered on a daily basis was tissue paper. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. But yes, our grandfather talked to me about Howard Hughes. And Michael, somebody you want to implement your life after. Of course, he did not. We didn't get into the germaphobe and all these other things and the good, the bad, and the ugly. But his point to all that was, at that time, Howard Hughes was the richest man in the world. And all of his toys showed it.
Some very impactful discoveries and
Incredible.
implementations. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, just like with his dad. Because, you know, the Hughes Tool Company, we've had literature on the Hughes Tool Company right here in this office. But think about the tri-bit that his dad invented 100+ years ago. And would we have all the natural resources we have without that tri-bit? Now, like I say, been modernized in technology, etc., but the concept of the tri-bit still exists to this day in the oil and, frankly, in the exploration world of drilling into the ground and coming up with natural resources. So, once again, you can find us, MX3.VIP. Contact me, info@mx3.vip. Always go to our YouTube channel, as Jason just said. Go to the comments section. Get in there. Tell us not only what you like, but what you don't like about what's going on with the show. Obviously, our numbers, yes, are we approaching 330,000, something like that?
All right, 326 right now.
326,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Just ridiculous. Let me say it again, 326,000 plus subscribers on YouTube as we speak. And as we are 5 episodes away from our 4th anniversary, the first Monday in July will be the start of our 5th year of Money, Motivation, and Mike. For all of those who've been a part of this show, continue to live your life the right way.